Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another Bulletproof for BJJ podcast. Hi guys, I'm JT.
I'm Joey. How you guys doing?
Man, we are talking ADCC Trials Australia.
Oof, just went by on the weekend, huh?
Man, it was huge. This is possibly one of the most hotly contested events in the history of Jiu-Jitsu in Australia.
Yeah.
Because the ADCC is getting more and more popular. And this year is going to be, it's being hosted this year. It's going to be the biggest that's ever happened in terms of the viewing audience. I think it's like 15,000 people in a stadium.
Wow.
And people came from all over the world to compete over the weekend.
Yeah, like here in Sydney.
Here in Sydney.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, I was really pumped for it. We had a few different friends of ours, friends of Bulletproof, mutual friends competing.
Ex-teammates of yours?
Ex-teammates. I mean, I was actually in Melbourne last week and training with the Absolute MMA team Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Whew. It was tough. It was a tough week to just
I can imagine.
Step back into the fire. Ben Hodgkinson was trying to rip my freaking head off.
Yeah, he would have been stoked to see you walk into the gym.
Well, actually, he wasn't so much because I came in like, let's go. And he was like, I'm tired, bro. Nah, he messed me up. I got him back. It was good. It was good. He needed it. I needed it. But talking to Lockie,
a note, I actually used to pass the guard and submit the fuck out of one of the competitors that did quite well there.
Oh, amazing.
Ariel Tabak.
Oh.
Beat the shit out of that guy.
Back in the day.
When he was 13.
When he was 13
and before
years
he went
old.
through puberty.
And before he became a phenom.
Bro, he was like I remember he was one of the people that I remember training with when he was still a kid.
Yeah.
And then there was this period where it was like, man, Ari's becoming a bit of a handful, isn't he?
Quite good, yeah.
And then it was like, this kid is a nightmare.
He's crazy.
And that was, I think he was like blue belt.
Yeah.
You know, like he was a nightmare at blue belt.
I remember him being 16 and just being like, whoa, he's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And
It's
look,
fucking cool to see him compete.
mate, I spoke with Lachlan Giles before the trials and that there was 32 competitors from Absolute MMA
Wow.
who entered.
Wow, 32.
Huge amount of competitors. And there's people came in, there's people flying in. Craig Jones flew in with his guys from B Team.
Yep.
There's a few B Team competitors there. Look, let's just talk about some highlights of matches that stood out to us.
Before that, could we just give a real quick, simple breakdown of how the ADCC works for the uninitiated?
Okay, so if you're not aware, the Abu Dhabi Combat Club has been holding a submission wrestling tournament since the mid-90s. And so it is now owned and run or managed by Mo Asim, and his father owns the ADCC organization. Basically, it is focused on submissions, guys. So there's a 10-minute round. The first 5 minutes, there's no points. It is a specific rule set that penalizes guard pulling. Now, you can pull guard in the first 5 minutes, but once points start, if you pull guard, you'll be given a -1 point. Now, everyone who goes in the ADCC has to qualify. So if you actually make the big show, it's every 2 years. It's like the Olympics of No-Gi Grappling. It's an all-star game. When I was there in 2019, I couldn't believe, I was looking around me like, everyone here is a world champion. Everyone here is the multiple-time champion. It's unbelievable. And it's so hard. Because if you don't score in that first 10 minutes, they do a 10-minute overtime.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and if you don't score in that 10 minutes, then they go to almost like a golden point.
Huh.
Another
Actually,
overtime.
like first point wins.
Back in the day, they used to do you just fight till someone's wins.
Unlimited overtimes.
Oh my God, it's the grossest thing ever because you just got two really tired humans just slopping on each other. It's like 50-minute, hour and 20-minute matches. You're like, oh, when will it be over?
Yeah.
And then someone just makes a mistake, someone gets a takedown, and that's the game.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the format now is really good. And that was the format that they were keeping on the weekend.
And so it used to be held in Abu Dhabi.
Yes.
It's now held in the States.
It is.
Vegas?
It will be held in Vegas. In 2019, it was in Anaheim in LA. And it's been held in China. It's been held all over the world.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
A friend of mine went to the China event and said it was kind of weird because there was no audience. It was just a huge stadium in the middle of nowhere. And it was just empty and cold. And it's just all these superstars of jiu-jitsu by themselves.
No one to watch.
No one. But what was mad, like the last one was big show, big effects, like Mo Asim is making it a great show. and big drums. They had like Japanese
smoke machines and
smoke
shit.
machine. Like it felt like a concert. It was,
Yeah.
and a really cool stadium vibe.
And so I suppose, like culturally within jiu-jitsu, it's a no-gi event, submission grappling event. So what it's always done, from what I can tell, is it combines like the jiu-jitsu world with some MMA fighters, with some wrestlers.
Yep.
Yeah, like you get these people who are like not from our culture who come into it, so it becomes its own thing, doesn't it?
It does. It definitely does. Like there's some pretty famous people who I guess they're really good at the rule set. So they may never have been super achieved in the gi, or you might not know them from your IBJJF tournaments, but they are savages, whether they've come from Sambo or just purely submission grappling and catch wrestling, stuff like that. Josh Barnett. Even when you look at a guy like heel hooks, Dean Lister. Dean Lister has the highest submission rate in the history of the ADCC.
Wow.
Something like 87%.
No.
Yeah, destructive still to this day, even though he's retired.
Yeah.
No one's eclipsed that. And so what's cool is with Lachlan Giles and also Craig Jones doing their thing, we've had many people in the past from Australia go and represent at the ADCC, but possibly they are two of the more achieved. There have also been some women who've done exceptionally well in the ADCC representing from Australia. We have talked about them before. And now we've had before Australians would have to travel. So the last time they had a selection event was in Kazakhstan. And so all the Australians had to travel to Kazakhstan.
Did they not have one here?
No.
I thought they went there.
It's Oceania. So they hosted all over the place,
shit,
right?
Yeah.
But then at the last minute, they pulled the tickets. They went, nah, it's not a selection event. But like Lockie,
how did that work?
Ben, like 16 people from our team had organised tickets. Mikhail, Jeremy, they all booked tickets to go, and they're like, oh, okay, we'll give a ticket for the absolute. Yeah, and they're like, no, we're having another tournament in Singapore. Yeah, that'll be a selection tournament.
Oh, wow.
So, and they changed it last minute.
So they pulled the rug out from underneath them.
It was bullshit.
They still went to Kazakhstan?
They still went to Kazakhstan, had a good time, ripped people's legs off. Hodgkinson won the absolute, and everyone got to hold.
I remember that. That was the one where he's like, "Am I going to Abu Dhabi?"
Yeah,
after he wins. Yeah,
he just and afterwards there was heaps of photos of people with eagles, big furry hats, eagles eating a place of horse meat
naturally,
as you do when you're in Kazakhstan. And so what's so interesting? Well, what I find interesting about that whole backstory was when Lockie came to make his decision to go in the absolute, he'd been so stuffed around. Mo said, if you go in the absolute, I'll give you a ticket back. You won't have to be selected. I'll invite you.
Right.
And that's what really got him over the line to go in the absolute.
Yeah.
And the rest is history, right?
And then place third.
Yeah, amazing. So there has been a fair bit of hype on these selections because the trials in America were huge.
Yeah.
The East and West Coast trials were some of the most competitive.
Some of the best, most competitive grappling events you'll ever see.
You've ever seen.
For folks who haven't seen that, you can go to Flow Grappling on their Instagram and just look at, or even on their YouTube and just see clips and
the highlights.
Some cool stuff.
Crazy matches just between some of the best grapplers in the States throwing down for there to only be one person selected.
Wow.
Which is super intense. And yeah, we had people come from overseas to represent. And so a really good example, an interesting case is Isaac Michel, who's just come off the Who's Next series on Flow, which I don't watch and I don't subscribe to Flow, whatever.
Yeah, I did once. It's a little bit pricey.
It is pricey.
And it wasn't that great.
And we don't endorse them particularly, but it's a resource,
Yeah.
But Isaac, I trained with Isaac back when he was a blue belt.
Okay.
Actually, the last time I trained with him, maybe he was a brown belt under Danaher. Or no, maybe he got his brown belt from Craig.
Yeah.
I might have stuffed that up. I apologize. But he is a brown belt no-gi world champion.
Yeah.
And we had a real tough tussle. And I think he ended up getting my back right at the end.
Oh, wow.
But it was rough. He's a very good wrestler. He had to go in the 99 kilo category.
I saw.
He is not a 100 kilo guy.
What is he, like 85?
And he's lucky if he's 85.
Yeah, right.
Like don't get me wrong, he's a strong guy. He's a very athletic guy.
Yeah, but he's not a big dude.
There's no way. But his wrestling is good enough. His jiu-jitsu is good enough. He couldn't go in the under 88 because that's Craig's category.
Right.
And according to the ADCC rules, he would have to fight Craig first round.
Right, because you're from the same team. So, we're just going to decide right now.
Yes. So that's
Fuck. So he couldn't go down because they had someone else there, didn't they?
Yeah, that's right.
So they had to go up.
That's right. So that's the thing. They've got Krellenstein, Ethan Krellenstein. They got Nicky Rod. They got J Rod.
Yeah.
Mate, they got 5 guys in that tournament.
Yeah.
It's pretty impressive. And so he came over and he won. He beat Anton Mamenko in the final with a big takedown. Just went for it and then ended up getting them out. And they're exhausted. You know, it's tough. But he prevailed. So he is representing Australia at 99 kilos.
Awesome.
It's pretty exciting. And then we had a really great performance from Ben Hodgkinson. Came through...
AKA sandbagging
Creonche. Meanest mullet.
Best Instagram handle in jiu-jitsu.
Most honest. Roughest head in the game. Meanest mullet. He went savage on the mullet. Did
Picture of
extremely
beauty.
well. Look, I felt like probably his biggest competition was going to be our mate from South Australia.
Declan Moody.
Declan Moody, who's a big athletic man.
Yep.
And he beat Declan. And so that was kind of like semi-final for that. And then he fought Bob Frias in the final. And Bob beat him on points.
Wow.
Yeah, Bob is a handful. Like, Bob originally was a lightweight. He's a Brazilian who's now Australian.
Does he live in Queensland?
He does.
Yep.
One Purpose BJJ. Bob is a phenomenal athlete. Just one of the most dynamic individuals. Lightweight turned middle heavyweight.
Wow, yeah.
He's chunked out. Still moves like a demon. And possibly the kryptonite for Ben. Can get to the legs easy. Took him down. You know, it's one of those things. If you're a really good wrestler, it favors you for the ADCC rule set.
Yeah.
And yeah, disappointing for Ben because he worked really hard, overcame a lot of injuries to get back and be in good form. But that's how it goes. And so, you know, Bob is an Australian citizen now, so he's representing Australia.
Awesome. Now, could Bob have competed in that if he wasn't an Aussie? Like, how does that work?
I was under the impression that you could not.
Right.
But we're going to skip to your man Kenta.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, but Japan, Oceania.
Oh, it is Oceania, right? Sorry,
Kenta Iwamoto, I think.
Yeah.
He's a Japanese MMA fighter that, I mean, I wasn't there, right? So I'm going off what we've spoken to people about and what we've seen on Instagram. And stuff.
Well, he was training at B Team prior to this event. He was training at B Team a fair bit.
Right.
I think for at least continuous amount of months, because Craig has talked about how tough he is.
Yeah.
And Craig can pretty much tap everyone. And Craig's like, I can barely tap this guy. He's insanely tough.
Craig never tapped me.
Well, yeah, that's okay. We can organise a roll. We'll film it.
We never rolled with each other.
Well, we can fix that.
No, I'm good, bro. I got a podcast and shit. Responsibilities.
We'll let him do his thing. But I think the interesting thing about that was he came through and just wrecked the 77 kilo category. I mean, I was expecting to see Kaya.
He looks like a fucking handful, that guy.
Mate.
Look at his Instagram. He's done he got a bunch of MMA fights. I saw he arm triangled Imanari.
Head arm choked Imanari brutally.
Yeah, and like just a real active fighter, which, I mean, that kind of speaks to ADCC in a way, doesn't it? It's a really hyper athletic event.
Yes.
Unlike gi jiu-jitsu, which is
no, I don't think that's true. At the highest level, black belt. Look who's
but the nature of the game, the nature of the grips and whatnot, just there's more static positions.
Yeah, but I think that this is where it's not less athletic. I think there's more strength and control in gi jiu-jitsu. There's more dynamic movement.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm getting at. Like, it's faster and more scrambly.
Because I was going to say, look at who won gi worlds. It's your boy Mika Galvan. He's going to the ADCC.
True.
Right?
I mean, and he's one of the rare few that straddles both.
The Rotolo brothers also going to the ADCC.
Good point.
They also were there in the finals in the gi, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's a good point.
So there is definitely crossover, but I guess what we do see more in gi jiu-jitsu is stalling. You cannot stall in the ADCC. You will be penalized. You will get wrecked.
Yeah.
You know, it's the whole game is meant to be entertaining. So I think if you were going to have and we've seen it more and more, like recently, like with with Flow Grappling's coverage of super fights and stuff like this, who's next, even combat jiu-jitsu now, that is becoming more popular because it's cool. Looks awesome.
Way more fun to watch.
It is fun.
I never liked watching gi jiu-jitsu. I'm not saying that. I'm not throwing shade on the sport. a practitioner. I never liked watching a lot of sports that I've played, but
Sure.
but I like watching no-gi.
Yeah,
for sure.
it is exciting. I love watching gi jiu-jitsu, just saying. Jeremy Paul Skinner.
JPS.
My guy.
Wow. Qualified.
Wow, he did it. Push.
Who'd he beat? He beat a
them all
purple
out.
belt from Sydney West, right?
Yeah, it's a fellow teammate. He beat him in the final.
Which, I mean, that you know, just saying that, like, it's like, oh, he beat a purple belt. It's like, no, he beat the other, the finalist.
The finalist. The
You
guy
know-
who beat other black belts.
Yeah.
Yeah, for that guy to be able to beat black belts and be a purple belt and only train 3 years is just out of control. And I guess that's a shout out to Leg Lock Luke at Sydney West Martial Arts.
Yeah.
That said, we've got to say that Jeremy Paul Skinner's game was built at Absolute.
Yeah.
I was there. He based his game very much off Craig and Lockie, and then he evolved it and was looking more at Danaher and a few other things. And he told me that he's learned plenty of things out there at Sydney West. They've got a great team. And, man, so happy for him. I don't know how the fuck he makes 66 kilos. He's our height, dude. He's as tall as us.
Yeah, right.
How do you get to 66 kilos?
Skinny dude.
And have the energy?
Yes, that's right.
It's
How do you cut that responsibly?
It's phenomenal.
What did Ari get down to? Was he same weight
he was
division?
66. Well, he lost to Jeremy.
Yeah, right.
So, yeah, our boy Ari Tabak, he was playing his no-gi bolo game. Looked great. But I guess this is the thing. We had this discussion. The no-gi bolo game is far harder to implement than the leg entanglement game. Yeah, and so seeing those two match up, I think the rule set really suited Jeremy.
Right.
And he's been playing that a long time.
Yeah.
Whereas Ari's adapting his more conventional game to it. Still look great. But yeah, Jeremy was able to take that spot. So excited to see
Good on
what
him.
he does at 66.
How long's Jeremy been at black belt for?
Maybe
a
couple
year or
years.
two? Yeah.
a couple of years. Not that long, actually.
Yeah.
But he's been training plenty of time. And it's so cool to see him get shine because he is exceptionally good at what he does. But that leads to ultra heavyweight Josh Saunders.
Ah, the big dude.
HPU coaching. He's a mean big mother. And, mate, he beat Dan
This
Manchild.
guy that supplements?
I couldn't say for sure. I think
Okay.
you go follow his Instagram. You may get some inspiration. You may get some advice. I don't know. I can't speak to it. I've spoken to him a little bit. He is a beast.
Where's he train at?
He trains at Sydney West Martial Arts.
Okay.
And he is a huge human. He lifts a lot of weights. And he has gnarly cauliflower ears. The guy moves exceptionally well for a big guy.
Right.
I thought that Dan Manchild from down, he trains at Precision MMA, but he's a black belt under Lachlan Giles. Dan is one of the best heavyweight black belts in
Is
Australia.
his last name actually Manchild?
No, that's his Instagram handle. But I've been fighting Dan since he was a purple belt. He was a handful at purple belt.
Yeah.
And he's a beast, and he got beaten convincingly. So
By
it's like-
Josh?
yeah, big
Okay.
Josh Saunders. So, yeah, it's
So
pretty,
what was that? Was that the 100 kilo plus?
That's over.
Right.
Yeah.
Fucking hell. And that's a stacked division at the big comp, isn't
You
it?
got to go fight Gordon Ryan.
Yeah.
Like that's what that category is.
Yeah.
You're going to go fight Muhammad Ali. Like it's, Yuri Samois. There's huge humans of the highest caliber. That's a frightening place to step into if you're not ready to throw down with the biggest of the gorillas.
Yeah.
But I want to actually go to the ladies because some amazing matches in the women's category. I want to give a shout out to our girl, Nikki Lloyd Griffiths.
Nikki Jiu-Jitsu?
Nikki Jiu-Jitsu,
She's
man.
going to ADCC, isn't she?
She's going over 60. And she did so well.
From what I see, she just wins everything.
She does
Is
very
that
well.
the case?
She won Boa Super 8, 6 weeks ago.
Right on.
And against a very high-level field.
Yep.
And, Nikki just has a profound self-belief. That's
Right.
what I love about Nikki. We had a break from training. This is many years ago when I was training her in Melbourne. And she's strong. And she came in. She was really tired. She's like, I think I might deadlift 100 kilos today. I was like, we'll see. She pulled 100 kilos. She just came through. She looked like she was half asleep. She was like, no, I think I got it. Just picks it up. Obviously we warmed up and did all the appropriate things, but there's something about Nikki, and she has great nervous system tension. She's strong. If she wants to win, she'll find a way.
Right.
And she did.
Wow.
And it was awesome. And she's typically a gi jiu-jitsu girl.
Yep.
She was recently at Worlds fighting in the gi. She's brown belt. man, in my opinion, she'd probably be a black belt. She's beating black belts.
Wow.
And she's gone to the ADCC. It's exciting.
What was her game? Do you know what sort of game she was playing at
This
trials?
is very interesting because Nikki trained leg locks at Absolute, but she is now based at Immersion MMA.
Right.
Shout out to Lee Ting and Dave Marinakis, her coaches. Shout out, respect. And she has developed a full-on bolo game. She has a great bolo game, but she loves to pressure pass.
Right.
And she learnt leg locks at Absolute. She is a freaking handful. She can go either way.
Yeah, right.
She can attack the legs. She can take the back. Like, I feel like her back take game is scary.
Wow.
And yeah, she'll mess you up. But she's fearless. I think that is the thing about this. It takes a lot of courage and a lot of like, just go.
Grit.
There's those moments where
Yeah.
it's like, I got to just do this.
Yeah.
Grab a leg, snap down, whatever it takes to get the win. And really, the whole rule set is really trying to, who wants it the most?
It incentivizes that kind of tenacity, doesn't it?
It does indeed. And look, Nikki, absolute champion. I'm really looking forward to just screaming inaudible advice at her from the crowd. I don't know who'll be coaching her. If no one's there to coach, I'll definitely get in that corner chair if she'll let me. But Nadia Franklin, want to give a shout out to a young lady. She's 19. She's a purple belt. She's out of Peninsula MMA, but she trains at Absolute MMA as well.
Okay.
She was there.
Trains jiu-jitsu at Absolute.
Absolute in
Right.
St Kilda. I was there. I saw her training. I haven't had a chance to roll with her. I've seen her just catching wreck on people.
Yeah.
Now, here's the thing. Healy Poked, she's our girl, our Bulletproof girl. Healy is phenomenal. And I thought Healy would beat Nadia, even though Nadia's beaten her before.
Okay.
She was...
And they same team.
Same team.
Right.
And
Awkward.
Healy is a blue belt.
Right.
Healy was winning on points. And Nadia came out with the submission with less than 10 seconds to go.
Nah.
Yeah.
What'd she sub her with?
Oh, I'm not sure. I think it was a leg lock.
Wow.
Mate.
Yeah.
It's tough, right? And then the next fight, Nadia's wins on points in overtime, I think. But then she fights Mars Ciccarelli. So Mars, or Margot, is a friend of mine. Love Margot. She's a multiple-time world champion at all the coloured belts. Is a black belt now, on the podium, like always on the podium.
She trains at Unity?
She trains at Unity. She's a Unity black belt under Murillo Santana.
Yep.
She came back. I believe that she's actually a resident of Australia, right?
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So she's people always get confused about her accent.
She's got such a hybrid accent.
It's Melburnian New Yorker.
Yeah, okay.
It's a bit crossed, right? Nadia.
So she was an Aussie and she moved to New York?
Yeah. She lives in New
okay.
York full time.
Right on.
With her partner there and just traveling and training all over the world.
Yeah.
She was in Singapore. She's a woman of the world, a woman of much class and style. Nadia, right at the end of the match, they're both tied. Mars kind of turtled and Nadia just jumped on her neck and jumped to the back.
Yeah.
And just rolled into it and put it on. And it was
Swift.
impressive. It was like, that is high level jiu-jitsu right there. Like, it was just reaction.
Yeah.
It was like, wow.
Yeah.
Now, this is where we have to talk about someone else who's very good at jiu-jitsu, which is Adele Fornerino, who was a brown belt world champion.
Right.
She was originally out of Dominance, who now trains with our good friend Jake O'Driscoll.
Ah, okay, in WA.
Yeah, Essence BJJ. And Jake was there for 77 too. He won his first match, but unfortunately lost his second.
Ah.
And this is the hard thing. I was actually expecting Jake to...
Jake's a candidate.
Mate, he's a total candidate.
Yeah.
Like, he is ultra tough, great on the leg locks.
But that's the thing. Anyone that's at the comp, pretty much at the trials, is a candidate, aren't they? Like, they're all really good.
Yeah. And
even though anyone can enter the trials,
Yeah.
you don't do the trials unless you're really fucking serious about it.
that's right. It's not a part-time
I sat the
thing.
trials out this year
But then let's like...
and the last 10 years. Did the trials once in the gi.
Oh, mate. That's different. That's the Abu Dhabi trials. That's different to the
That's
ADCC.
Combat Club.
Whatever.
They
It's
gave
not
me-
the same, Joey. Stop bringing this bullshit in here. Oh, I love watching no-gi, but the only time I've ever competed is really in the gi, but you know.
Absolutely.
Where I can stall. Guys, Adele came through and she
won
beat
the division.
She did. And look, I would have picked her as being favorite. She's very skilled.
Yeah.
She trains leg locks flat out. She's one of the most kind of achieved competitive ladies out there.
Yeah.
Mate, phenomenal. So definitely for her to beat
Has
Nadia
she trialed or has she competed in ADCC before?
I haven't seen her compete in ADCC before. I'm not aware. So,
Yeah,
but my lack of awareness doesn't mean she hasn't.
Yeah.
So apologies, Adele. If you ever hear this, excuse my ignorance. I'm still very impressed by your jiu-jitsu. Bo. But that's the thing. Like we were talking about, you know, Jake losing. Mate, there were plenty of black belts showed up, didn't win. So that's the thing. Nadia Franklin is a 19-year-old purple belt.
Yeah.
Right? And this is what we're saying not that long ago. Purple belts.
The new black belt.
The new black belt in the no-gi. Like, that's mad.
It's the 20-year-old's choice of a black belt.
Yeah. It's that right level of skill and that right level of not giving a fuck.
Yeah, and just that's right.
it.
And just less shit going on that you're just like, I'm going to go for this thing.
Mate.
It's incredible. It's also funny too because somehow the purple belts stand out. You don't really see as many brown belts.
Yeah.
It's like there are a couple, but it's kind of like purples and blacks.
Yeah.
You know, at the trials and stuff. And I mean, you know, further to our discussion on a previous episode about the belt hierarchy and stuff, in this facet of jiu-jitsu, like in no-gi jiu-jitsu, like ADCC rule set, the belts don't really mean that much.
No.
Do they?
If you've got a good game
Yep.
and you're very fit and very determined, you can make it happen. And actually, Lockie said it. It suits a less skilled grappler.
Right.
Like this rule set, it really suits somebody who's just ready to push and fight to the absolute end. And oftentimes those matches are decided in pure states of fatigue.
Yeah.
Both grapplers will fight each other to a standstill. It'll go to overtime. And whoever's getting that takedown is going to win because you can't pull guard.
Yeah.
And so it's very wrestling biased. If you don't have a wrestling background or if you're not very strong and very well conditioned, you're not going to do well in the ADCC. But I want to give a shout out to a good friend of ours, Sammy Backy.
Oh, Sammy Backy.
Throw your hat in the fucking ring, that guy.
2 wins.
Yeah.
3 fights, 2 wins on the day.
Right. We rolled Sammy just the other week.
Yeah, he came by here like a month or so ago.
And it's not like he's not training. He trains with Rob Whittaker. He's out there.
He's always training.
At Smeaton Grange. It's not like he's not training.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing to me, he's like, yeah, I'm just going to do trials. I was like,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
He's like, yeah. I was like, dang, that's
Mate,
ballsy.
That guy just turns it on.
He doesn't care.
I mean, I was talking about this morning with Pillin. Shout out to MP. But Pillin was saying, like, we're just saying how Sammy excels at competition.
Yeah.
He finds a way to win.
He does.
And he'll perform better at competition than he will in training.
Yeah.
Because it's just something, you know, he's just good at it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was blown away to see him there.
I was impressed. I was stoked, actually. I was like, wow, that's really cool because, you know, he's got a young kid.
Yep.
He's not like young. You know, he runs an academy. He's a gym owner.
He's flat out.
He's got plenty of injuries that maybe he's not fully addressing. And he should be doing a bit more bulletproof. Just saying. But look, we've had our chats. You know, Sammy and I have our chats. I've done some work with Sammy. I love him. Mate, he's a monster. It was so good to see him throw down and just get amongst that fight, that noise.
On that, what about our boy Keller?
Well, I don't know. Kel had suffered a lot of...
He had a shit run.
He had a very bad run. He had COVID, and then his appendix exploded.
Yep.
And then he also got the worst flu of a lifetime.
Oh, wow.
So that run into the tournament just absolutely, I feel like, knocked him out of the race.
Yeah.
Very unfortunate.
But he still jumped in, didn't he?
Yeah. So, I mean, look, the thing for me is like, I don't think you can do that. Like, I don't care if you're an ultra tough competitor, as good as you can be. The ADCC, even if you're one of the best in your country, you may still not go. Even if you're top 3, it doesn't matter. It's only taking number 1. And even those people who you would think would be the number 1 seed, they can still lose.
Yeah.
So if you're coming in half speed, haven't trained enough, carrying injuries, it's not good enough. Like, and that's not a personal comment. Like, I'm not I feel personally attacked.
Yeah, you're not criticizing.
I'm not criticizing anyone. I'm just saying you have to understand this is the absolute pressure test.
Yeah.
Because you've got people coming from everywhere to mess up your day.
Yeah.
And Kaya Rudolph.
Oh.
God.
Right. Saw some clips of his fight against Declan.
Oh, my God. Just Kaya in general. So if you don't know who Kaya is, Kaya has been doing jiu-jitsu since he's very young. And he's still very young. I think he's 21 now. Lucky if he's originally out of Bali MMA, I believe.
Right.
Him and his sister phenomenal mover. Was originally like a surfing kid.
Yeah.
Like the most flexible guy in the game, I would say.
Yeah.
Like if you watch any of Lachlan's DVDs on BJJ Fanatics where he's working with Kaya, there's actually some outtakes where he's bending Kaya's foot inside out.
Oh, wow.
And he won't tap. Like you can't twist his leg off. And my God, he gave it to people, man. Kai was going to fight under 77. And I actually think he should have. But at the last minute, he just balked on the weight cut. He was like a kilo out. And then he just was like, nah.
Stayed up.
I'm just going to eat.
Right.
And my goodness, he's chunked up now. He's super strong. He was training in Perth at Essence with out there with our man Jake.
Yep.
And he flew over to B Team.
Yep.
So he was over at B Team for a number of months, and I actually drove him out the day before he left. And my God, did he go to town on people? And I saw his fight with Declan Moody because I actually, as much as I back Ben Hodgkinson to the teeth because I believe he's probably he's 6'6". Him at 88 kilos is a freaking nightmare.
Yeah.
I thought he would win. I was like the dark horse, and some people might hate on me for saying this, specifically our man, Mr. Jones 182, because he loves Declan. They train at the same gym. They have full belief in Declan being the best grappler in the world.
Yeah.
I felt he was the dark horse. Kaya felt
that Declan was the dark horse?
Yeah.
Right.
They would say, no, Declan's favourite. Declan's the best. No, he's very athletic. He's very strong. He's very good. Kaya, who's coming in off like a weight cut, all over him, bro. Like, it is insane. If you guys get to see that clip, I couldn't believe it. It is amazing to just see every position he goes to dominates that role. And that was the fight for bronze.
Wow.
And that fight was way better than the final between Ben and Bob. No way.
Yeah, it was. I mean, he looks incredibly dynamic. You can just see the way he's like linking from position to position. He's just always got somewhere to go.
That leg, back take, bang, bang, bang. The inversion, the double hooks and the flip.
Yeah.
Mate.
Yeah.
It's so impressive, and I think that's why people get excited. It's so cool, I guess, to bring attention to Australian Jiu-Jitsu, and that people are coming. Like Flo was here, the ADCC officials were here.
Yeah,
and shout out to Craig. Craig had some influence in making that happen. That the trials were here, not in say Singapore.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Craig's very close with most, so if there's definitely a couple of the positive things that Craig does, he made that happen. So it's really cool for the scene here, for us to get that experience, to have such a good competition here and just get people G'd up.
I'm bummed I couldn't be there. It was it was the only grappling event that I'm like, I really want to go and watch that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I was occupied with family things on that day. Totally outside of my control. But it just, then spent the next 6 hours on Instagram.
Yeah.
Just scrolling everyone's account.
Yeah.
What was that match? Oh, God damn. But I think this elevates Australian Jiu-Jitsu because all those people are in our scene, and all those people, even though they may train abroad, come from training here.
Yep.
And that could be you, and there's young guys in there, like shout out to Hugh Boyd. And Hugh is a young guy. He actually got tapped by Jake.
Right.
Hugh is a purple belt from Absolute MMA.
Yep.
He's young. He's 20 years old or whatever. He's been training since kids class.
Right.
He's that nightmare kid.
Mad.
He'll do damage, you know. Bobby Sandu.
Did he do trials?
Yeah.
Oh, he did trials in the US, didn't he?
He did, but he also came.
Yeah,
He did
right.
trials here, there's all these people who you may have never heard of, but say they're mutual friends of Joe and myself, and they're in the mix. They're getting out there. They're getting after it, and you never know who's going to break through. And I think what's exciting now is knowing pretty much all these people on some level. For me to be at the ADCC, because I talked to Lachlan about it. It's going to be cool to be there and see them live, getting amongst the best people in the world.
Right, that's going to be fucking epic.
It's going to be great. So the hope is, well, not the hope. I'm quite confident because I spoke with Lockie. I'll be able to get interviews with all of them.
Wow.
Regardless of how they go, I'll be interviewing all of the Australians, and then who knows how they go on those podiums.
Fuck
You
yeah.
know, it could be a really special event for Australian Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah, it's the one time where I'd recommend getting a Flow Grappling subscription just for that 24-hour period so you can watch it.
Yeah.
It's sick. I remember the last one that you were at, which was where you were cornering for Kel.
Yep.
And that was like 2.5 years ago now, 3
Yeah.
years ago. Yeah, it's sick. It's so worth getting. I'm excited to watch this one.